Hi, this is teacher Karigo Njige, the manager of literature and the young African writer. Dear viewers and listener of literature books or literature analysis, welcome to the lesson of today concerned about uh, appreciating and analysis of short stories. In our country, Tanzania, short stories used in Form 1 and Form 2. That's why I have brought you this lesson on how to impart knowledge on appreciating and analyzing short stories, especially students who study uh, English language in Form 1 and Form 2. Even teachers and parents, you may show your children or your students so as to learn about short stories. Short stories which used in the English language special Form 1 and Form 2 are five. The first short story is Mabara the Farmer, which is written by Richard S. Mabara in the year of 1988. The second short story is Howard the Bus Driver, also written by Richard S. Mabara. The third short story is Karuru the Hare, which is written by Frank Washington. The fourth is The Magic Garden, which is written by K.R. Creepwell. And the last is The First Man, which is written by K.R. Creepwell. You can ask yourself, why are you learning or why we teach short story in Form 1 and Form 2 and not other levels? I mean, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5, and Form 6. Sometimes uh, we teach short story in upper level, but few books. But we focus short story in Form 1 and Form 2. The basic reason or the major reason I can say is based on literature, children literature. That's one. Those short stories are categories of children literature. When you look, those learners, Form 1 and Form 2, are still young compared to the Form 3 and Form 4 and those upper layer levels. That's why we teach short story in Form 1 and Form 2 according to their age. And also, one of the features of children literatures uh, based on children and short stories uh, used for children. Uh, Short stories have simple plots. Dear listeners, special students, uh, short stories focused on simple plot and one lessons or more than one lesson or one theme, I can say. Example, Mabara the Farmer, based on laziness. That's why the learners learn on how to work hard. Example, the author Richard S. Mabala used character Mabala as a main character who is lazy. That's why the learners or the students get a lesson through a character against the laziness. That's the main themes in the short story Mabala the Farmer is about laziness, on how laziness that's poverty. That's why Mabara, the main character, he suffered with poverty because of laziness. The second short story is about how the bus driver. Uh, the short story based on college or college. In Swahili we call it Ujasiro. And also the short story based on hard working. We see the main character Hawa. She's the strongest. She's a stronger woman. She struggle as a man. That's why the author act as a feminist to uplift the women to struggle like men. That's why the main thing is about courage or courage. Women should work as men do. The third is about Karur the Hare, which is based on animal stories. But the learners or the students get a message, a lot of message and themes through conversation among animals. And that short stories based on the issue of courage and also based on the issue of hard work. We see number of animals in that short story, and they also based on lies. If you don't lie someone's, just tell the truth. Number four is about the magic garden, which is based on the issue of poverty and laziness. We see the main character, who is Kumaro. Uh, he take the life is simple, but life is very tough. He thought about how to get money. That's why he steals money from the church and later return those money to the church after good circumstances and conflict among characters portrayed in the short story. The last is about First Man, the same writer who wrote The Magic Garden and the First Man. In that uh, short story, First Man, the main character is Mr. Sometimes or Olu. That short story based on poverty and laziness. That's why, dear listeners, students, just read books to gain knowledge and also on how to use those knowledge and skills you have got in short stories, and also on how you can apply in your life, and also on how you can help other people. That's why I brought you this lesson on how to to use the knowledge which you have got in a short story in your daily life. And also another technique which enable you to analyze a short story, especially students Form 1, Form 2, and teachers. Just use element of literature. This is one of subtopics which use in literature in English, but you as a students, you don't know these elements, but you can understand what I'm talking about in this lesson. Use element of literature to read a book or to analyze one element to another. In element of literature, we are looking two categories, form and content. Form in Swahili we call is fun, and content in Swahili we call is maudhui. Just follow all elements of content and form. When you read a book, just think about the title of the book. Is it direct or indirect? Just focus on title of the book. The writers has labeled by using his ideas, or you observe the conversation of characters. All characters discussed about the word portrayed by the writers. And also you should analyze the setting. When you read a book, maybe line by line or letter by letter, make sure you find the setting uh, portrayed by the author. Maybe the main setting or the subsetting, either a school setting, hospital, home setting, rural setting, or urban setting. And you also should think about the style or technique employed in the short story. Is there a dialogue, conversation in the short story, or is there songs employed, or narration stories, yeah, or is there maybe the uh, poetic elements? And so you should think about the characters. Just find the characters in the short story. And also you should think about language use based on figures of speech, simile, metaphor, personification, and the other elements. And also you should think about point of view. The first person point of view, the second person point of view, the third. Pronoun I, that is first person point of view. In the second, that is the first pronoun I, that is the first point of view. The second point of view, we're talking about pronoun you. And the third point of view, we're talking about pronoun he, she, and they. And also, you should look the element of content about themes. When you read a book, make sure you find the themes employed by the author. Those poverty, uh, hardworking classes, betrayal, hypocrisy, alcoholism or drunkardness, and so on. And also, you should think about the message, and the message you get through themes. You should think about conflict employed at the author, and you should think about relevance. Is it relevance to our society? That book you read, short story. Okay, that's the end of the lesson of today about short stories, which use in Form 1 and Form 2 Tanzania. Students, make sure you read more books, especially 5 short stories which used in English language and yes, in English language. And also, teacher, make sure you teach your students 5 short stories, in at least 2 short stories in form 1 and 3 short stories in Form 2. And that's the end of the lesson of today. If you have a question, you may write below this video and I will answer your questions. Thank you for listening to me. This is teacher Karigo Njige, the man of literature and the young African writer and the world analyst. Thank you.